heard about branding, personal branding, which is something really, really key for any woman. And to follow on that, it's very important then to ask, who am I? At the end of it all these things are driven by, who am I? Many a times we meet people, and I like it because when I'm working with women on boards or women aspiring to board leadership or top leadership roles, people are saying, the women up there. That visual in itself makes you where? If others are here, then where are you? Somebody taught me that, one of my first bosses, that Sarah, even though you've come into this organization as an intern, as long as you see it as a pyramid, and that there's others up there, apart from God, that there's people who are up there, you'll always be, your visuals are powerful. And so I learned the power of visualizing the right things. And so when I came up, I found out the world of powerful people is actually a matrix. In some things, you might be here, I might be here, but definitely in some things, even if you're my mother, my sister, my boss, I might be here, and you're, so it's a matrix. So bring it down. The sky is the lower limit, I always say. Okay? So let's really watch our words, watch our visuals, and those things are the ones that will transform us and give the power within us to really move to the next level. So we all have a voice, we all have value, we all have something to bring to the table. Yeah? The second thing I like to tell women is, please do not be a percentage. Sarah Richson has sat on boards or ex-committees and whatever full of men. However, I'm not a 30% or a 10% or getting there because I'm a woman. You get there because of mastery, you get there because of excellence. You master what you know. And how do you get there? I've got a fantastic framework. I'm glad to see people sitting here who've been to my TOTs. And I talk about the skin framework. To define the value that I bring, and I am known to come into an empty space and fill it with my value. Many people who hired me, especially the CEOs, I tell them, please just pass the JD elsewhere. Having worked in human resource for many years, I know how JDs are created. We want to fit somebody in a box. And many people are very accommodating and agreeable to those boxes. And they come in and they do exactly what the box says. And so you're defined by a little box until somebody tells you, do you want to move into another box? And we call it promotion. And you're like, yay, I'm moving up another box. And the salary is moving up and this and that, and you go celebrating. I'm like, really? When people are trajecting their careers in 2 years with quantum leaps, you're taking box steps. Women, let's wake up. Let us see the value we can add. You're brought in as a clerk or a cashier, but you decide, as Martin Luther King said, even if I'm a sweeper, let me be remembered for the best sweeper there was. So if you come in and the only value you want to add is what has been defined in that box, and you're looking at my KPIs, my KRAs, my job description, you've made it yours. What about you? Bring the whole of you. I say if you're a mother, how many skills come from just being a mother? I'm a mother of 5, so I know. How many transferable skills do we think we can take into entrepreneurship or take into our jobs, our day jobs, from being a mother? Let's interact. Would somebody like to share?
Attention to details.
Attention to details. Because first of all, you don't want your kids even burning up or making their breakfast. Right? Do you think that's a transferable skill? Even to a risk department in a bank? Hello?
Yes.
So how come we don't mention those things? What other skills come from just being a mother?
Managing a team.
Managing a team.
Yeah.
My team of 5.
Yeah.
Plus daddy
Yes.
and others.
Yes.
You know? There are times the phone is ringing, it's your mother, it's your brother, it's your who, it's what. And you're thinking, priority, priority, priority. So I tell my bosses, I bring a prioritization excellence because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I say I'm a multitasker extraordinaire because of 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm one of the few people you'll find on your board who is able to hold a phone, cook soup, listen to people singing on the other side, and be guiding homework. With 2,500 tabs open like the internet in my head, thinking about tomorrow, the next day, and the next month. How many people can claim that? And women do. We do.
Yes.
But I don't know why we are modest. I've just come from Rwanda, then Tanzania, then and I'm like, how much can I tell people? This modesty. Robert spoke about unapologetic. The thin line between arrogance and confidence. But you gotta know something. I'm not saying be confident or overconfident on something you don't know.
Yes.
So for you not to stand on a percentage, you need to be a master. Mastery needs depth. It needs you to know that you know that you know. You take me on my subject, we can talk for 24 hours and I'm not fine.
Yes.
But if I'm limited and 4 hours go and then you start talking about the weather, my friend, there's something wrong. And that's what happens. You get in because of a 30%, and then you cannot contribute, you cannot bring results. So I'm here to share some few tips I call the power tips. They've helped me traject, they've helped me move what people would call mountains. I remember one of my CEOs actually said, Sarah, you know the one thing I'm willing to give you is time. So don't be in so much of a hurry. I told him, you've got time, sir. I don't. I repeat, I told him, you've got time. I don't. So I then learned to come into things on your terms. Okay? So somebody gave you 5 years, and I know I can do this in 6 months. Why am I wasting time? Power tips. Number 1, no is a good word. That little tiny 2-lettered word is actually good. Everywhere I write it, when I'm writing my notes and I'm doing my reflection, I put it in capital. No. Many of us have to-do lists. You know, to check your phones, your diaries, your iPads, whatever gadget you use to have those to-do lists, including the to-do list in your head. How long can they be? And every day we are adding on to them. And you haven't even finished the 50 things that are still on the multiple, until one day you even lose them, then you check your second hand, back hand. Oh, and I had a list here, and I had a list here from last year. I have don't do lists. So I sit with my team and I'm like, what am I not doing? Not what am I doing? Because I do a lot. We're just talking with Martha and she's telling me to tone it down, take it down. Because depending again with your personality, and it's important to understand your personalities. Because then you find out the answers, the things that tend to drive you in a certain way. I'm a full-on choleric. When I was getting my coaching certification, I was the only woman in the class to stand up on high-risk masculine tendencies of boldness. And I stood with pride. Hakuna shida kukua bold. It's gotten me to some places. But as well, I know that I can run like a speed train and be crashing, either on others, on self, and on important things. So understanding yourself and understanding your personality is where it all begins. How many of us in the room understand our personality or have ever done a personality test? Yes? What's your personality? Oh, hi.
The MBTI one, it's extrovert, feeling,
PNP, yes. MBTI, how many have done MBTI? How many have done another one? Who wants to share? Another personality test? Yes? You're a sanguine. I can see from the smile. Okay, so let's talk about John, the original. personalities: the cholerics, sanguine, phlegmatics, and melancholics. Right? So, for those who've done those tests, if you tend to love authority, power, you have so much energy, you push, you drive. Everything is about the goal, not the process. There's much more around that, but you could be what we call, in the LOGB, a lion, in the young personalities, choleric. Some people call it type A. Okay? Some personality tests, again, I found out drivers or whatever, but that's one dominant, very, very dominant people. Okay? The second one, which are the sanguines. When you personify them in animals, they're called otters. Always talking, always happy, sunshine. In fact, my hairdresser is a sanguine, so I love spending time with her when I just want, to hear about the village gossip. What's going on? They know everything about everyone at every time. They have and love people. However, when they know themselves, the other side of the coin is that they don't have deep relationships. They just love people. Once I went and did a test, and there were like 16 men who are otters, and I was like, wow, I'd love to see your wives. You love everyone, however, you don't have any depth in the relationship. And that's okay, that's who they are. Then we have the golden retrievers, in terms of the animal. In the young personalities, they're the phlegmatics, the yes people. My daughter is a phlegmatic, and this is how it plays out in the house. Hey, Welch, are you going to take me to the salon on Saturday? Yes, mommy. Then daddy comes. Hey, Welch, can you help me wash my car on Saturday morning? Yes, daddy. And then the friends come. Hey, Welch, we want to go to this party on Saturday morning. Can you help us do this? Yes. And then on Saturday morning, we are all standing outside Welch's room. Oh. She said yes to everyone. It is because of her that no is a good word. And I started teaching it. I told her, my daughter, the world will chew you.
It's true.
You're always saying yes. And it comes from a good intention. If you are a phlegmatic, those are the people in the olden days, they were the royals. They are royalty. However, I always tell people, because I teach operational excellence, I'm like, there's a difference between the queen, and those who've been in the UK understand, and her role, as compared to the prime minister and his operational role of running the country. She's a symbolic figure. Fantastic. So she can say yes to everyone. But the prime minister cannot. Because you have to commit. You say something tomorrow, everybody is looking at you to make sure you do it. So the phlegmatics are very accommodative. However, they get very sensitive and they struggle with the word no. I don't actually. I'm a choleric. So I look you in the eye and I say no. Okay? Then there's the beavers. The melancholics. Highly methodical. I think all of them have left brain thinking. Logical, cohesion. Everything, 1 + 1 is 2. If you tell them 2 - 0 is 2. 1 + 1 is, that's how it goes. They are very organized, they are perfectionists, and there is a right way to doing everything. They are the ones who don't like, It is this way. So sometimes you find if that's your boss or your colleague or partner, you're struggling because you're trying to say, there are many ways to kill. No, this is the method. And that's it. So to convince them, you really have to reassure them with facts.
Yes.
For them to change their position. They are quiet. They have a bigger internal world than the rest of us. Some of us have a big external world. They enjoy their own company. They love music. They are great in terms of creativity. Without beavers in this world, without our melancholics, my son is one, there will be no creativity. But they need time and space. They're the people who are, when they are working in your team and you're busy pushing, tracking them by the minute, they will leave. When they tell you, give me space, when I finish with it, I'm coming. I've worked in IT and my developers usually come from that space. So you don't go into the developer's desk and you're like, I want this app, I'm giving you 24 hours. No. It will come at their time. They can wake up at midnight to keep on the creativity, wake up tomorrow, but you have to know when to stop it. Otherwise, they go into analysis paralysis. And if it is you need to wake up to that and to see some of the weaknesses. The biggest weakness is lack of flexibility. Very rigid. But you need to understand that you need to also look to the external world and different perspectives. So we are talking about the you, the inner you. And once you understand that, self-awareness leads to self-management. For some people, right on their CVs, and I tend to see thousands of CVs. This morning I just, going through CVs. People send unsolicited or solicited CVs. That's it. And the first thing you see, self-awareness, self-awareness. I never or rarely see self-management. Because for me, when you tell me self-awareness, I ask you, and so what? And so what? The so what is because I know and I'm self-aware, therefore I can self-manage. Now that is value. Again, socially aware. You're aware of the trends, you're aware of these things, you're aware of people, you're aware of habits, behaviors, and everything. And so what? The value is in becoming socially aware to the point you can socially manage the social environment around you. Okay? So, again, it comes from emotional intelligence. We were talking about cancer today. My husband calls it heart cancer. And I'm not talking in the literal sense. For those who know me, I'm talking metaphorical. Some of us are emotional dwarfs. We don't even understand how to manage emotion. And that's why for women it's tougher. People think everything we are saying, even when we are passionate about something, we are emotional. Why? Because yes, we are aware of emotion, but we are not managing. We've not gone through the journey of learning what emotions to emulate where. But if you manage that, that's the area where you start deriving and producing value. So I'll take you the next tip. Get it done. One of my mentors always told me, Sarah, get there fastest with the mostest. Don't look at the dictionary. I don't know whether those words exist. However, fastest with the mostest means it's okay to come in 80%. If another comes with 100%, we are still with an A. However, if we wanted the 80% to arrive tomorrow morning, and somebody tells me they are bringing theirs 3 days later because they were working to make sure it's 100%, who will get the deal?
80%.
So get it done, and move it, and meet your deadlines. And fine, it won't be perfect, but we can correct as we go. With women, again, just naturally, our tendency is, let's polish it, let's add this matoido and everything. While the men have run in with 50%. In fact, when you hear them talking, it's like they know it, and you have the answers, you're like, really? But they got there before you, so they got the deal, and they've moved on. So learn to get some speed.
Yes.
Get some speed under your belt. I have 2 words for my brand. 1, clarity. 2, speed. The last one is full stop. That's it. We are seen to be taking our time, everything. Well, I know this morning I was late, by the way, sorry. However, I landed at 3 a.m. in the morning. Gave my apologies. There's times you can rule the body, there's times the body has to be ruled.
It's true.
But I had to be here. So the speed on the inside has to match the speed on the outside. Otherwise, you will not survive this VUCA world. VUCA meaning it's highly volatile, constantly, whether you're in business for yourself or whether you're inside corporate environment trying to traject upward, whether you're in politics, it is volatile.
Very.
You never know. You wake up in the morning, you never know. The you means it's uncertain. No longer do those diaries of ours, where we put those nice appointments, go exactly as we planned. People cancel on you last minute. People say this. People call out other things. A phone call comes and changes the entire day. So will you say, and this is the third thing I personally detest, will you use SMEs, small and medium excuses? You're great at that. It was the traffic. It was my father. It was my child. People who worked in the organizations where I've been director will tell you, the last person you come and start using your child as an excuse is Sarah. She has 5.
You know?
And she'll arrive on time.
Yes.
And get it done. So I told women, please, let's stop using our children as a crutch. I'm not going to the gym because of my child. I'm not doing this because of my child. I'm not trajecting my career. You know, it's not, I'm even telling the children, you know, it's because of you. Really?
Yeah.
I'm first generation educated. My father and mother, standard 4 and standard 6. Who was helping me with homework? Who was talking to me about my teachers? They didn't know whether I'm writing a love letter or whether I'm writing homework. I'm telling you.
It's true.
I'm getting easy maths. My mother and father have no clue. So those of you who had parents who were educated, who gave something or paved the way for you, please do not use any living or non-living thing as an excuse like traffic. It can't defend itself.
It's true.
I am an original.
Wow.
Having lived in the UK for nearly 20 years, the first thing that happens when you go out there, and I know people here who lived out there, Robert being one of them, who met there as well, you are under pressure to say, you know, hey,
Yeah.
back. And when you're speaking like a Kenyan, people are saying pardon, 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 until you feel this small. It's so important. That uneducated, illiterate father of mine taught me one thing: identity.
Yes.
When I was leaving, he told me, Sarah, go and come back an African girl. Again, when I was being taught how to train, I was told, young lady, please take small steps, small, nice steps, yes, keep your hands to the side. And then every time I would do, I'm talking, and then I find myself, and then people are like, no. However, I found comfort in being an original. I said, why can't the rest copy me?
Yes.
Yes.
And I say even copy and paste. My team laughs about this, but I say copy and paste. Also do it in an intelligent way. Don't lose part of it. You see, you copy and paste even the fonts. And when we look at the document, you can see. You know those who copy and paste into a CV? And then you send it to me, I'm just looking, really? And you want to be a director? Even copy and paste, you have no skill. Do it properly. Add some pieces. Know you. If you don't understand the original, it's very easy for it to be whitewashed.
It's true.
So I went and I came back. I was called the African girl there. The African trainer. That was my brand. She uses her hands. She has energy. She'll walk the floor. Yes. And it got me my own following. There are those who went to trainings because I was there with my own personal style. So again, understand you, and let us bring up our daughters to understand that I have 4 daughters. So the next thing I'm going to talk about power tips is no nonsense. Again, we allow too much nonsense to the point that there's a book that has been written, Uncommon Sense and Common Nonsense. Now when I talk about nonsense, people think it's a joke. I have been paid in dollars and euros to sort nonsense. But when you look at it, if somebody had common sense, my role wouldn't exist. And I go into organizations where people want you to be a headmistress. I never used to like mine, so I'm not. I'm not going to follow people unless you tell me this organization it has child labor. Unless we have people who are under 18. I build adult organizations, and it cannot be adult. If I'm still there to solve little small cases, she said my dress is short, she said my...
Really?
And we are the ones caught in that. And that's why I ran like Women Power series. Come on. There are small things that pull our brand and push us all. You know, when they talk about women, it's one pot. It's like there's no differentiator. So let us be able to hold each other accountable. Tap somebody. That's why I said, I used to call mothers like myself. I said, you are the one who's making companies not want to hire. As soon as you say you have children, they don't want to hire you. As soon as you say you're pregnant, that promotion, they want to sideline it. No. Sure, you can do it. You can go and come back and deliver. You can deliver with the children. In fact, I say I will add extra value because I've got 5 mouths to feed. So don't accept nonsense, especially from yourself. That's why it's important to introduce self-speak. Look yourself in the mirror and know when you're chatting nonsense to yourself. You say, stop. I know growing up, my mother used to say, people will say you're bewitched. Why are you always talking to yourself? When I look in the mirror and I'm saying this and I'm checking out how my smile looks and this and that, yes, you need to rehearse. I think people who made it in, like Robert's work, don't rehearse or look at themselves. He checks himself out. So check yourself out. Do I look the part? When I walk in, for me, one of the biggest problems, and I came to understand very early, was when I went for an interview for a very senior role and I was left at reception for nearly 2 hours. The CEO had come to reception and gone back in because it was usually the kind of role I work in. When it's being hired, especially when there's a predecessor or something like that, they are very, very confidential about it. So nobody needs to know. So he had to know what time I was supposed to be there. And then come and pick me. And he walked 3 or 4 times. Came in, ignored me totally. And went back in. And so when finally I told the receptionist, please tell the CEO I'm leaving, he got the phone call and said, she's been here when? I've been checking myself. She's not here. And when I walked in, he was like, oh, young lady, so it's you. Are you sure you can do this role without even anything else? And so you have to work double hard at proving your value. And I realized there has to be something more serious about my look. Because people tend to think I look which age or whatever. I have a 23-year-old son, so that can tell you which age bracket I am in. But sometimes you're sitting around a table and people are judging you first based on age. And that brings me to the next party. I respect age. However, I promote mastery and leadership. I repeat, I will always respect age. However, it is mastery and leadership that I will promote to the next level. And that's why today you see millennial CEOs, you see millennial COOs, founders, and you want to pin them down based on age. You try it. It's about your 10,000 hours of mastery. If somebody put it in before they were 18, you come at them and you find out your meat, because iron chops meat and iron sharpens iron. So let us again not think we deserve things because of age.
True.
One of my mentees, and there's others sitting here so they know the story. I worked with her. She'd worked 17 years in an organization. And the only thing that trajected was the salary. The job title didn't change. The seat where she was sitting didn't change. The computer she was using didn't change. She went back to school, took the master, went back to school, took the PhD, went back to school, and what did it earn her? More salary, not promotion. We worked for a period of 7 months. And she became, and she is, today, her boss's boss. Because the role was vacant and it was being hired at board level by external people from PwC, Deloitte, and whatever. And so I said, let us sharpen this. And we'll go head on with everyone and get it. Now that's a result. And it can be done. And that's what I was warning people in Tanzania yesterday. The reverse, in the next 5 years, many of us will be working for people with no time if we're not careful. If you're not refreshing, if you're not developing yourself, if you're not constantly sharpening your tools, you'll end up answering to those that you say you. Where are our teachers? They're still in school, right? And they made us who we are. My sister is a teacher. I still can't believe. I keep telling her, you are still a teacher with everything and all these people you brought. You can continue to teach, but traject your career into a different environment. Be in command, have confidence, have authority, at least in one subject. You can't do 2 or 3. I love hiring multi-talented people, multi-skilled, multiple perspectives. There's many things we look for when we're hiring now. I said there's skill. And people think because they have knowledge, they have the PhD, they have the MBA, they have the whatever, that they'll make it in life. If you don't have the skill to translate your theory into practice, you're going nowhere. You'll be the one whose sentence, every sentence begins with but. When somebody teaches you something, but Professor so-and-so said, Professor so-and-so, and what did you say? And what do you think? And what would you do? So you come with your triple threat of a PhD, and I ask you, please go and give me an analytical report on this, and you bring a theoretical one. I have a real business solution that needs to be sorted tomorrow. And you want 3 months, the way it took maybe to do your project or something like that. Welcome to the real world. Either you go back and continue teaching others what now you know, but if you come to translate it into business, it's a fast-moving environment. So speed is of the essence. Skill must be combined with knowledge for the value to be derived. And then we look at exposure. And in terms of exposure, that's why I'm saying, I tell my team, please, go on holiday somewhere other than Mombasa. The Kenyan passport allows you 43 countries without a visa. And some of the tickets are cheaper than going on a holiday I don't know where in this country. Go get some exposure. I struggled when I was building a global team to find people, not with the subject. The subject was there. I had hundreds lining up, but with the exposure I needed to tell me they can actually oversee a geography like Mauritius, a geography in Asia, a geography, or do my two-pay transfer of employees in the UK, and you're sitting in Kenya. Because we really wanted our flagship office to be held in Africa. And these wild flagship offices are moving elsewhere. We lack not in knowledge, not in skill, not in experience, but in exposure. And so my 17-year-old daughter has been to 40 countries. And I tell her, your passport is your CV. Make sure you mention it. Over and beyond the subject matter expertise. And in travel, you learn a lot. There is no way I could have gone for a global role and gotten it if I didn't have exposure. When they were talking about this country and that country, how will you deal with this? What are the differences? What's the power distance in this country? What are the kinds of frameworks you use in an international assignment? Because it's not a local assignment. And because you've mastered that and you're exposed to it, both on just personal holidays and interest, you don't know you're building something. And write it in your CV. Because by the time CVs reach our level, they are not. You're not looking at your CPA, PhD, all those big capital lettered words. Everybody has them at that point. Because you've come through 5 layers. To come to the short list, you all have something. At that point, I'm not looking at what you all have, I'm looking at the unique differentiator. The one thing, I once got a job in London simply because I mentioned I'm passionate about wine connoisseurs. The boss looked at me, he was so excited, he said all his meetings, and I learned everything I know today from him because he was a global director. I was coming in for the director role. But when they saw my CV had that and they knew he is so passionate about this, and every deal in the 80 subsidiaries of that company were being done at wine parties. And so even your knowledge of having a discussion about it, not drinking it, but a discussion, an intelligent discussion around wine from France or South Africa or Australia was their defining factor. So you never know. I am the lizard on top of the Iroko tree. I will tell you what I have. Are you ready to do it? Or you still want to sit in the modest? Look at every single thing around you, even your kitchen table. Maybe your ability to turn pancakes, 1,000 baskets, can create a funny conversation for people to remember you. We are recruiters, it's true. Once I had a big team, and we were trying to get them to get scholarships to go to a different country, and they all came. And I asked them to introduce themselves. The first one goes, I'm doing a double degree at Nairobi University. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm the best in class, I'm this. The next one, I won an award for this and that and that and that. The next one, they're all going about knowledge,